Church.
Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Coffee with Father James. I've got my FGM priest travel mug with me. And I'm coming to you from St. Paul's Church because, as many of you know, this coming Saturday, if you're watching this video as it's being released, we have the culmination of a over a 2-year process that we've been going through as a parish, the parish of Our Lady of Guadalupe, about how our infrastructure is or is not serving our mission. And as many of you know, we went through a whole process of praying, dialogue, discerning, listening, discussion, preparing reports, investigating, researching, which led us to a proposal to be a parish with 2 locations, the main location at St. Peter's, which we'd, God willing, renew, add on to it and repair it. And we would also have a physical presence in North Dartmouth for activities, for Mass, and for reaching out to the poor, which necessitated closing the other locations because, you know, this infrastructure that was built in the late 1940s, in the case here, in the 1950s or 1920s, was built for a different era. You know, these past couple of weeks, we've been getting on average 450 people at Mass. This is not sustainable. So as difficult as it is, we will be having the final Mass here on Saturday morning, 10 o'clock. Archbishop Dunn is going to be joining us, and we're putting out the invitation to not just all of our parishioners at Our Lady of Guadalupe, because remember, this location is our parish, it's our building. It doesn't matter if you have a history from the St. Paul's location or you don't. This is a part of our heritage, of our legacy as a parish, and invite you to come and be a part of this. And we also want to extend an invitation to past parishioners, people who have history and who have been a part of this community, which once was an incredibly vibrant community of faith. There is a sadness to this, and it is akin to a funeral of sorts. We went through this process with Immaculate Conception, and I want to thank the team, the closure committee that worked in this. Closure meaning not simply closure of buildings, but to help people find closure to what has been a very difficult decision. And it is a process of grieving. There's no question. The Archbishop is going to come. There are going to be specific rituals around the different symbols with our church. And the liturgy concludes with a reading of the decree, which effectively closes this building as a place of Catholic worship. So please join me if you are able. Speaking of funerals, I also want to address with you another matter with regard to parish funerals. COVID, the experience of COVID over the last 2.5 years certainly accelerated the decline that our parish had been experiencing for decades, that has led to the decisions to close these buildings. But COVID impacted a lot, many dimensions in the life of our parish. You know, prior to COVID, this parish, Our Lady of Guadalupe, had a team of people, of parishioners who helped put on receptions for funerals. And during COVID, this team discerned, and I believe this was before I arrived as pastor, that they were no longer able to do this. And COVID was a kind of opportunity because receptions were not allowed. So it was a chance for them to hang up their hats. And for all of those parishioners who were involved in that ministry, thank you for your years and years and years of service. There does come a point sometimes when some ministries need to hang up their hats, because if it's not sustainable, in the end, it doesn't do anyone good. Some people might be being served, but if it's making us miserable and everyone else miserable, it's not very good. And you know, we're not alone in this. Around the diocese, there are several parishes that had a ministry like this, and they made a decision following COVID that they weren't going to continue. Now, I want to give you some clarity around funerals in our parish and the connection with a reception and our ability to actually host funeral receptions, because as you know, after September, after this weekend, we have 2 locations where we can still have funerals, St. Anthony's and St. Peter's. And we have limited space at both locations for receptions afterwards. So while we can offer funerals for parishioners, even past parishioners, and we're happy to do so, we are able on a limited basis to offer a space for a reception. Space is limited, but we can't put the reception on for you. Why? We don't have anyone to do it. We don't have enough people to do it. And so each family who requests a funeral will be responsible for arranging a reception to be catered. That includes setup, food preparation, food service, and cleanup as well. That's the best we can do. It's not like the past when we had teams and teams of parishioners willing to do this. The other problem for us at St. Peter's is space. We have limited access to the gym. We've been in conversation with Churchill Academy, and actually the conversations have been going well, and they've made some moves to give us more access to the gymnasium on a Monday morning, and we have access on weeknights and on weekends. But they're a school and they've got kids, and funerals come at short notice. You can't change a whole school schedule at the drop of a hat, and so we want to respect that. We don't want to do things that are going to render them incapable of doing their work with the kids in that school. So while we have even like a Monday morning, say for instance we had a funeral on a Monday morning, we still have to bring all the plates and cutlery over. We have to prepare the food, bring all the food over. We have to set up. We have to clean up. And we don't have people in our parish in that ministry anymore. Now, if you're watching this and you and 20 other people say, we want to do this ministry, then come and talk to me. That's a different matter. If there's enough of a team of people willing to take this on, but we don't have it. And it ends up, like so often in church life, falling on the shoulders of a few people. And guess what? The same few people who do about 20 other things as well. That's not sustainable. That's not life-giving. So here's our commitment, that we promise to make a space available to you if it's possible. Simple truth is that the gym is often not available, and even the parish center is available from time to time. There's limited space there, but it is available. Sometimes it's not available. That's the truth of our situation. We have very, very limited space, and we're starting to have an increase in the activities in our parish. So we're going to do the best we can, but in the end, if a space is available and a family want a reception on site, they have to look after it for themselves. So there's a little bit about funerals. I think it's important that we have clarity on this, because if we end up saying, oh, well, this person is different, we should band together and try to do it for this person because they deserve it, then what we're saying is that everyone else doesn't deserve it. And I don't want to be making those calls. I think you can appreciate that that's a kind of a slippery slope, and we want to be fair. There's one thing about our Catholic liturgy with funerals. Doesn't matter who you are, rich or poor, famous, infamous, unknown, big or small, everyone gets the same kind of funeral and the same service. And so that's the way we're going to move forward with this. So funeral liturgies, and as I began today, a funeral liturgy for a church building. It's sad, it involves grieving, but as it says in 1 Thessalonians, we do not grieve as those who have no hope, because we grieve with hope, because as followers of Jesus, we know that death leads to resurrection, whether that's the death of a loved one, a friend, or whether it's the death of a church building. The death of a church building does not mean the death of a church. God bless.